All right, guys. So let's start this week off with a film that I've only really seen like glimpses of, but my one of my followers, Bella, she's very good with recommendations, and she mentioned that I should do Legends of the Fall. Now, not gonna lie, when I first saw the whole picture of it and I saw who was in it, it intrigued me a little bit. But however, the actual cover photo was like, all right, this film's gonna be absolutely stupid. Now, let's before we dive into the whole premise of this film, let's dive into the cast. We have Brad Pitt as Tristan Ludlow. We have Anthony Hopkins as his father, Colonel William Ludlow. We have Aidan Quinn as Alfred Ludlow, and we have Henry Thomas as Samuel Ludlow. Now, as you can tell, with me only telling you about the Ludlow family, it's surrounded around them. Now, the film starts off very, not very abrupt, kind of, eases you in, kind of like the Revenant did. They have this, I think his, Indian compadre, I think it's called, One Stab. He's given you a little, taste of what you're going to be experiencing in this 2 hour and 13-minute film. It did come out in 1994. It is rated R. But anyway, the whole film is surrounded around the Ludlow family and how Tristan is the middle child, Samuel is the youngest, and Alfred is the oldest. However, Samuel is always, he's supposed to be protected like usual. But Tristan ends up being Colonel Ludlow's favorite child. However, he doesn't openly say this. Now, the whole film it's kind of a whirlwind. It shows you the pros and the cons of having brothers and how, you can be stuck with them, or you can defend them, or you can turn against them. This film kind of goes around that whole theme of, betrayal, reinforcements, brotherhood. I typically loved this film. Now, it was a little bit too long for me, but at the same time, I felt like the story wouldn't have continued to be as inspirational if it wasn't 2 hours and 13 minutes. Now, Brad Pitt does amazing in this film, so does Henry Thomas, and Aidan Quinn knocks it out of the park. For all the shit that his character Alfred goes through, you needed the right you need the right person for it, and I feel like that's what they got with Aidan. So once we dive into the film, we find out that William Ludlow doesn't want to be part of the war anymore. He doesn't like the government. And so then the three boys go off to war after Samuel comes home with his fiance. And after that, shitstorm galore. I'm not going to give away anything else because it builds up the whole premise of this film. And from that point, after they go to war, if you're not already sunk into the movie, I would suggest turn it off, because that's the real dipping point that really sinks you into what this film actually entails. So IMDb gave it a 7.5 out of 10. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Like I said, it was a little bit too long, but the message that it was supposed to get through to, it was very spot on. Now, if you are interested in watching this, it's on Favesome. I feel like that's only a Roku thing, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's on the Xfinity box. I don't know. But give it a watch. Let me know what you think. I highly suggest you check it out because the three guys on this poster behind me completely knocked this whole thing out of the park. So give it a watch. Let me know what you think.